144,000.
There's there's a belief that the church has been squashed, but in many places the church is becoming more empowered because the people that know it's not a building are now driven into the streets. They haven't been squashed.
Plus, Facebook blocking everything is going to push them out in the streets
There's
even more.
what do you call it when the troops are sent? What is that word? They've been sent. Um, they've been sent out.
Deployed.
Deployed. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. So the people that were in the church, some of them are waiting for what makes them comfortable, but the ones that are drawn near to the Lord are being deployed to the streets. Um, and so their power is actually spilling out of the buildings into the community, and they're rising up. Um, a lot of people um, that normally wouldn't speak out are speaking out because in their spirit they see that something's not right. They want to do what they're supposed to do, but in their spirit they can see that things aren't right. Um, and there's actually a great deal of power that is welling up um, in areas, um, and I feel like we're supposed to, even though we don't always see it, um, we're supposed to ask Him to show us who we're supposed to connect with, um, because um, it's definitely something that if you just sit back, you're not going to be a part of. Um, he wants us to connect with other believers, connect with people that have discernment to understand what's going on, um, and people that have ears to hear, because a lot of them are just waiting. Some of them are just waiting for a word. They know something's not right, but they don't know how to go deeper. They're just waiting. So we're supposed to be commissioned to reach out. So we're supposed to be prayerful in who we interact with. I'm very cautious about not um, creating any type of different kind of fear. There's a lot of fear out there. We have to be very cautious about not creating a different kind of fear. Um, and we just need to make sure that um, we're reminding the people of God that we have the power with us, because the enemy is going to try to make us believe that he's taken over and he's got the upper hand, and a lot of people are seeing it that way because they don't see a way to stop what's coming.
So that must have been why when we prayed about 3, 4 months ago about the atmosphere of heaven and we saw the angels rejoicing.
mm,
Remember?
yeah, there's a lot of people that are speaking out that haven't spoken out before because they can feel that something's not right. He's empowering them. He's giving them a voice, um, even though they don't understand it. He's giving them a voice to question things that don't seem right. Um, a lot of people that normally wouldn't question things are questioning things because it's all coming to the surface. Um,
Was it so confusing? They're
there's a,
trying to bring fear.
and I saw
You can
today
see it. It's easy to see
I
that.
saw today a vision of
Division.
I saw a vision of a puppet, and I saw somebody saying something about goggles, and I was like, I made a crack about the goggles. The goggle mandate is coming, and then Dr. Burks said something about we should all be wearing face masks and goggles, and I literally like wanted to burst out laughing because it's like these puppeteers are sitting back and seeing what they can. It's like a little game. What can we get them to do, and how quickly can we get them to agree? And no matter how ridiculous it is, people are like, oh yeah, we got to do that, and if they had the power and they believed and they would seek him, they would see what was really going on. And it's not a fearful thing. And it's not that it's not a real disease, but it's not a fearful thing. And the people that are operating in fear are the ones that are going to be attacked. Those are the ones that are going to be attacked. If you're really doing what he's showing you to do, you're going to be fine. But when you're operating in fear,
The enemy is going to attack the fearful.
Yeah. And they're coming into agreement with the fear, and that's what's allowing them to be attacked. So
they need to overcome the fear and
yes, and it's hard because there's so much that makes them believe that they are in danger. That's what the enemy's trying to do. And what we were talking about the other day, he keeps showing me the programming. It's about the programming. The people that are not plugged into the programming are able to have the discernment to know that something's not right. But if they continue to be programmed, it's hard for them to overcome it.
Programmed by the television and the news. And
the television and the media. The programming is hard to overcome if you continue to marinate in it. So the people that continue to go back and listen and it's just more fear. So the more that you're marinating in fear, you're not going to be able to just shake that off and say, well, Lord's showing me this, because it just keeps coming at you. It's like being shot with a hose, a garden hose, and trying to figure out when you're going to dry off. You ain't going to dry off. You're standing in front of the hose. It ain't going to happen like that. There's definitely some kind of, though, I saw before, a wave. I feel like there's some type of, I don't know what it's going to look like. It just feels like a blowing wind. And it feels like something's shaking.
So, Lord, many people have been dreaming about this wave coming, and many of them sound fearful to me. So we ask you for the interpretation of the symbology of the wave that Joni saw, Nancy saw. Is that the wave? Is that the same wind that's coming? Or is that a wave of destruction?
It doesn't feel like water. I got a wave too, but it doesn't feel like water.
Keep telling Nancy, I don't think it's water.
I don't think it's water. It doesn't feel like water. It almost feels like what I was just describing, like a rushing wind, like a wave of. It's like a wave of power is what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a water, but there's a shaking. There's a great shaking that's coming. I can feel like remember a while back he speaking to me about the tectonic plates. I started hearing about the tectonic plates again, which is kind of odd because it's not really something I would speak of. It doesn't sound like me even to talk about the tectonic plates. But there's a shaking and there's a rumbling, and there's a shifting. There's a shifting underground, if that makes any sense. It feels like there's a shifting underground, and it's not necessarily where you expect it to happen. I don't know what that means, but it's not necessarily.
Lord, are we still safe in our location? A lot of people want to go north. out of Florida. We want to be able to bring them peace or be prepared ourselves, whatever the answer.
I'm just feeling like we haven't been commissioned to move. We haven't been deployed to move on. The wave that's coming is not water, and the people that think it is are going could miss what's happening if that's what they're looking for. So it's really important that we remain in prayer. Um, there's a lot going on that the enemy has convinced people that lawlessness is going to prevail. But lawlessness will only prevail for a season. He doesn't. He's going to allow it for a season, but he's going to protect those that rely on him. I saw when we first started praying, I saw a vision of someone outside, and they were fighting, and I was trying to figure out what that was, but it was like it wasn't you, but it was like two men fighting. Like it started out shouting, and then it felt like a wrestling type of energy. I can just feel that, and even on the outside, we need to protect um, protect our property, because we could be inviting we could invite chaos. But I felt like there was some kind of restless, combative, spiritual thing outside. So we need to be very cautious about that. Like,
So, Lord, is it time for evangelism? Because I'm recording this and talk about prayer. Lord, is it time for evangelism personally, or is that for other groups of believers? And I'm supposed to meet people.
I just keep hearing about connections.
Yeah, connection.
And I'm hearing about connections that are divine appointments. So we're supposed to remain in fellowship as well. There's there's new challenges in fellowship, but we're not supposed to just set that aside, because there's a great deal of power that comes from it, and so we can't forget that. The enemy has tried to squash the power that comes from fellowship. So it's really important that we don't succumb to that. So, and it doesn't need to be large groups, but we're not supposed to just give up on fellowship when it becomes more difficult, which is easy to do. It's really important, even in small groups, that we remain in prayer for each other, and encourage each other. Because, again, he's showing me the people that are, especially the people that are alone, they're under attack, like big time. They're under attack. Like, we just need to be a continuous encouragement to those people that are alone, because they're in danger.
So, Lord Jesus, we just thank you for sharing with us your game plan and encouraging us and giving direction to the saints. And if you want us to post this, we just ask you for an encouraging word for the saints and direction for all those who may be listening.
I feel like we're supposed to give what he was showing me before is we're supposed to give people nuggets and encourage them to pray over the nuggets because the message could have different parts of it for different people. And just an encouragement that even when it looks like lawlessness is prevailing, that God still has a plan. And his power has not gone away. Because people are seeing what's happening and they're scared. And they're like, what if that was my street? What if that was my city? What if that was right here where I am? So we just need to encourage people that he still sees and he hasn't given up. And that we're still supposed to believe that he's going to take care of us. Even when we see what looks like lawlessness prevailing, God still has a plan. And that's not the whole story. That's not the whole picture.
So, Lord Jesus, we thank you for your amazing plan. We just bind up fear over anyone and everyone watching who may be struggling with fear. We call on the army of God to arise in this time. It's time for us to come out of our closets and bring the truth into the streets, the love of God and the truth of God that breaks the yoke and it sets people free. So be encouraged, saints. There's a mighty wind, a mighty wave of the Spirit of God coming to set the captives free. For when the enemy comes in like a flood, then God. Be blessed, saints of God.